God, our divine spirit, creator of all there is and ever shall be, we ask you to shine your light down upon our city. We ask you to bless all the residents. We ask you to bless and guide all the city workers and the city council and our mayor, that we make the proper decisions that's for the highest good of our city. We ask for peace in the world, and we ask you to bless our country. For this we are thankful. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mayor Dale Massad.
Here.
Vice Mayor Terrence Rowe.
Here.
Councilwoman Nancy Britton.
Here.
Councilwoman Jenny Sorrell.
Here.
Councilman William Dittmer.
Here.
City Attorney James Matthew.
Here.
City Manager Vincent Lupo.
Here.
Thank you.
Callers, I have a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
General public. Thomas Brown.
Thomas Brown, 7436 Candlelight Court. I find it hard to believe that our former building official Goldberg is concerned with the rebuilding of the limestone pier. When he was our building official, he passed a fence that did not meet city ordinances in several ways. He either did not know city ordinances or he was intimidated by City Manager Tom O'Neill into writing pass on the inspection sheet. He had also written on the inspection sheet, hold for Tom. It would make one wonder who really passed this fence that was too tall and on property the resident did not own and on a public easement without getting the required documentation. Did he resign because he had integrity? I am waiting on the current city government to do something about this illegal fence. After looking at the aerial photo and the survey that I gave each of you on June 13th, does anyone have any remedy for the illegal fences? Our city manager Lupo announced at the June 27th meeting that we are taking $335,000 out of CRA funds to get the dredging started. Will this be paid back to the CRA fund when the city gets the BP money? Thank you, City of Port Richey, for cleaning out the drain in front of my house. I would also like to thank the city for the boil water notice that they left at my front door on July 3rd. We drank the water for the next 3 or 4 days because we seldom use our front door. I guess you can assume the water was not hazardous to your health. Thank you.
David Solon.
Good evening. David Solheim, 5538 Quist Drive. No scheduled brush pickup. In June, I called City Hall and asked about the July brush pickup. Our very nice city clerk told me that I had missed it. I asked how that could be since it was still June. Speaking for the manager, she said that a day was taken from July, moved to June, work completed, and then put back into July. Our manager believes that only one cleanup occurred in June and another cleanup occurred in July, although it was still only June. And because the record shows that the July pickup is already completed, there will be no additional pickups in July. Also, if we did not take advantage of the July pickup in June, we forfeited our chances for a pickup in July. It is our fault, even though no notice was given to the stealth July pickup in June. Mr. Mayor, there never was a pickup in July, and none is scheduled, according to his office. Days later, I was in my yard pulling weeds, and my 13-pound terrier dog was rooting around in one of the brush piles. I said, Oliver, give it a rest. And he immediately pushed his way into the pile and engaged some animal. I then saw the long black tail. I yelled out to myself, it's a rat. I grabbed Oliver, told him to drop it, which he did. I put it in the garbage can, the rat. Several days later, I opened the newspaper and saw this headline, New Threat. 30 out of 39 rats have tested positive for rat lungworm disease in neighboring Hillsborough County. The parasitic lungworm can cause meningitis in humans. Your manager's lack of a scheduled brush pickup date is providing habitats for these rats from sometime last June until the middle of next August, maybe is the closest he can come. Can we do anything to prevent this threat to the health of every man, woman, child, and dog living in our city? I have a suggestion. It would require you to open a new page in our website and title it Brush Pickup Schedule. The next line would announce that, for example, brush pickup will be on the first Tuesday of every month. A brush pickup schedule would also take into consideration emergencies, group notifications, extra pickups, weather, etc. I'll speak until my time runs out on how we might benefit from a scheduled pickup. Health concerns, eliminate the rat disease threat, no threat of injury, rat bite, no blight laying around, no extra cost whatsoever, improve the quality of life factor for residents. They will not be staring at debris sitting on their property. Replace resentment with rapport. Replace, oh, glad to see they could finally make it, with, they're here again and they always do a good job. A schedule is sometimes something the community can rely on, like garbage pickup. Community does not have to rely on any manager ability to plan ahead. You all, council members, will look good when citizens realize how they benefit from your actions. The citizens will benefit by the simple fact that they will be happier.
Thank you. Chris, is that correct?
We pick up brush the first week of every month. At the end of June, we decided to make an early pickup due to the 4th of July schedule. And we are planning to go out probably towards the end of this week or the beginning of next. We're working on some stormwater issues this week,
Okay.
trying to finish a project.
So David.
But we pick up every first week of the month.
But this week you're gonna make up for the last one
Correct.
next week.
We planned on doing it the last 3 days of this week.
Also, you,
Appreciate
if I might, Chris, you failed to mention the reason why you picked up the brush prior.
The 4th of July. We didn't want
For-
people setting off fireworks and
Exactly.
their brush catching on fire.
Exactly.
My remarks were based on what your office told me, but I accept that. If that's what it is, that's what it is, and maybe it was changed, but that led me to come here tonight.
Well, I
And-
appreciate that, and I hope that that will make your life a little better, and certainly we appreciate you coming.
Sure, well, thank you, and I hope the extra schedule, if you do develop a schedule for this, our city won't look like that or be a threat to anything, because that brush will be picked up on time every month on the same date.
Now, is that citywide once, on the first week?
First week of every month.
Okay.
The very first,
So
it takes
there
us
is
a
schedule,
week
It's not posted, I guess.
generally to do it.
Is that on our
Bes-
website?
I'm sorry?
Is that on our website?
No.
We need to get it
We've
out
sent,
there.
I know we've sent out newsletters in the past and it was on there.
I'll make sure it's on the website.
Yeah, we need to get it
I
on the
see
website,
Josh
put it
on
in
there
our next
now.
newsletter that goes out, because if people know, I mean, I didn't know. So, now I'm gonna think, okay, well, I'm not gonna do any yard work because I don't want it sitting out there forever and ever and ever.
We always try to do another pickup before each holiday, just so it looks nice.
Okay.
So Nancy, you and I haven't lived here long enough to have known
I
what's
guess
scheduled.
I'm still not with the program.
Thank you, we didn't know either. Now, Mr. Jarvis?
Steve Jarvis, 6652 Ridge Road. I just want to keep the back-to-school bash in front of everybody with adjustments and changes that we have going on. We are working with the Port Richard Police Department August 12th, which is the bash, and we've been trying to find a day to plan for the night out with the police department, and so that's something that's been done in the past. So August 12th, we're going to be having the night out in correlation with the police department. It's all going to take place on the 12th from that location, from the event location, and we're going to march up Ridge probably to 19 and back, And it's also gonna be a prayer walk, so we're not only just walking against crime, but we're walking for righteousness' sake also. So I just wanna make sure everybody knows that. I'd love to have everybody come out and join out in that night out. We're leaving the parking lot at 2 and marching and then coming back. And then that's when the big grudge match happens. The 3-on-3 basketball game is going on, and it's getting bigger now because Chris is putting together a team. So it's gonna be quite a show. And I'd love to see the councilman put together a team. That'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
His shoulder's bad. I can't play that
Yeah.
one. I'll play defense.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so God bless
Is
you.
the dunk still on?
Yes, sir.
You're in charge of reminding me.
I will. I just need to get your email address. She shot it out at me, but I didn't write it down. so-
MayorMassett@gmail.
Okay, got it. Thank you very much.
And I have Sandra's, Reverend Sandra Spalding.
Sandra Spalding, 8207 Old Post Road. I'd like to bring something up again to the council. Now, listen carefully, please. When people come up in their 3 minutes and have a question, now, you're very nice, you answered that man very nicely, but many times you don't answer because you don't have to quote from the council. If you don't want to answer the questions when the people have it, why can't you put it on the next agenda? Because if people have questions and it bothers them, they should be able to bring it to you, and you should answer them. Whether they like the answer or not, it doesn't matter. It's the fact that they have a right for you people to discuss it. Not just sit there like you're doing right now and listening. Okay, you got it? I'm gonna leave you with that.
I'll leave you with this. If it's worth being agended, we do.
But excuse me,
If we consider it worth
but
being
it's
agended,
if
we
you
do.
consider it, but if people have a question and they don't get an answer, that's not fair. Either that or make arrangements for them to come and talk to you, whatever it is.
Well, I can assure you, Mr. Lupo makes notes, and I believe Jocelyn does. Ms. Sawicki?
Well, why not?
I also take the notes and I try to bring it up in the old business.
All right,
If
but
not, I
let
try to
people
answer
know that,
people.
because you know what I get, to be honest? Oh, why should I go to the meeting? If I have anything to say, they won't pay attention anyway. Hello.
Well, if they've been watching that since this administration
I'm
started,
just,
we have always.
don't kill the messenger.
You may be dismissed.
Oh, I have time yet. I'll dismiss you.
We've answered people and they don't like our answers, so what do we do about
Right.
that? I mean, they don't accept the
Okay,
answers.
we have Mr. Lupo's.
Yes,
Alan?
yes, Mayor and Council. There are just 4 quick issues. One, the striping has been completed on several different locations throughout the city. As you've witnessed, Leo Kids resurfacing has been completed, and we've had several different sections that were had remedial work completed with respect to streets. The 4th of July, I have to congratulate all of our employees who were involved: police, public works, code enforcement, fire department. Every single employee, and there were many of them, participated. And I witnessed many people having a great time. We had no real problems with respect to police or emergency situations. People entered our community on a timely basis. Parking was tight, but with the addition of the parking at the Colaquitas' lots and police vigilance with respect to where individuals were parking, that worked out rather well. And then, of course, when the event was over, the exiting of the community went exceptionally well. Again, it was our police department, aid from our sister cities, and from the county and from Florida Highway Patrol. And I just wanted to congratulate all of the employees who were involved. And I'm sure our citizens enjoyed it, and I hope that it will be a bigger and better event this coming year. And I will be bringing a proposition to City Council during the budget cycle with respect to that issue. One other issue, and that is we attended a very special meeting yesterday with DEP with respect to the DMMA site and the dredging of Channel 19 eventually. I believe it was a very successful meeting. We worked hand in hand. We had our engineering company and we had the construction company. We worked out timetables, schedules. We went over the various issues, and it is my belief that it was a good working meeting and portends great things for our community in a very, very near future. That's it, Mayor.
Okay, you wanna, bring back to council?
Just a quick couple questions with what you said. You
Yes,
you
ma'am.
mentioned timetables and whatnot. Do you have any specifics for us?
With respect to,
You know, when things are gonna get started?
this was the first meeting with the required meeting from DEP with the contractor. The contractor is in the process of mobilizing at this.
Well, you gotta notice, yeah, I can answer that.
Sure.
In terms of timing. Yesterday, we had the pre-construction mandatory meeting with DEP. We probably, which was the final thing, we would have issued a notice of commencement, and they probably would have been out there today, except that we just got their insurance in yesterday, and the bonds, surety and performance bonds came in, and one was missing an original signature and administrative oversight. She's laughing because I rejected it on that reason. It is a serious amount of money. We should have it by Federal Express tomorrow. They promised it today, and we'll issue the notice of commencement. So the contractor has 45 days to complete, and that doesn't mean he's going to finish it. Now he thinks he could do it in less time than that from our conversations yesterday. I suspect by the end of this week or next week, you'll see a bulldozer out there. Now, they have to
Absolutely.
they have to do some trees, have to come down, they have to put a fence up.
Yeah, it's a mediation.
Yeah, so I guess the short answer to when it starts, within its days, not weeks now. The bidding has already gone out for the Channel 19 dredge. We've just gotten those in. They haven't been reviewed yet for compliance. Obviously, there's not a big rush on that because it's going to take at least 3 or 4 weeks to finish this. That should be before you, either at the next meeting or most likely the next meeting. And same process will happen. We'll have a pre-construction meeting, surety bonds, insurance, proceed. So it was a positive meeting. I was at the meeting, just to add to what Mr. Lupo said.
Okay, so 19 is bid out, we have returns. What I would suggest is that whenever you're evaluating them, please ask them, when we give you the bid, how long will you take to mobilize? We have no time, When we give them the bid, I expect them to be mobilized tomorrow. Is that legal, writable, or?
The next legal step is that you'll vote on one of the 2 bidders. We have 2 bids.
Okay, would everybody be happy with a emergency meeting if we need to bid? Because seriously, guys, it's
But
July, August,
y- y-
September, we've got 2.5 months.
Mayor, if I might,
it's going to take 60 days for this guy to finish the DMA site,
For
I'm
the
sure.
DMA,
Right.
He says he can do it in 2 or 3 weeks, but it'll be longer.
So after that, does the DEP come into?
They're going to want a pre-construction meeting, do the same process.
Okay, and how long does that take?
Quickly as they like scheduling and things. Go ahead, Jocelyn.
I also think they have to certify the DMMA site, the DEP. Somebody has to come inspect it and approve it and certify that it's ready to receive dredged material. So there's another
Okay.
and
process.
all of these actions are under the auspices of DEP and their inspections, and they're well aware of the necessity as far as the timetables are concerned. We had long discussions with that. So we're moving at the proper legal rate, and they are with us lockstep. And the activities of the various contractors will be as quickly and as possible inspected by DEP. So we have a very reasonable expectation of the completion dates.
So if he were to, what I'm just suggesting is, you stay in touch with this man and he says we're 5 days from finishing, then we make sure that the dredging man is on his tail, you ready? And, Jim, I know, I'm hurrying.
Let me explain one other thing. We had extensive conversations over the fact that obviously we're not gonna finish the dredging project, the entire 21 channels, by November, or whatever the date is, so we know that already. We had ad nauseum discussions with the DEP concerning our putting in for an application for an extension, and that does not seem to be a problem, okay? There's no set triggering event, okay, such as the Channel 19 dredge, the
Right.
scoop has to be in the water. We discussed that ad nauseum, okay?
Okay.
Mostly as a result of your concern, okay? So I pretty much could be out here too. But regardless, we are going to proceed quickly because we feel more comfortable getting that done, and we appreciate it. And, yeah, so, matter of fact, we put the other bid out already. We have the bids in, and we haven't even started the MMA side, so it really can't go any faster, man. I'm joking.
He may get a visit tomorrow or he better get out there. Okay.
I just have something I wanna quick add in
Please
there.
do.
When we do the dredge of that Channel 19, one of my big concerns is the artifacts that might be in there. And I talked to Jocelyn about this. When that stuff comes out and it's dried and it's moved to wherever it's gonna go, we may wanna pull in a university of some kind. And I believe that should be stuff that is given to the city of Port Richey so that we can display it for our residents. But the reason I bring that up is because when the two homes from across the street of my home, I don't know, Dale, if you remember, there was an old guy who used to live in a big old white house, and it was so old and built in like the late 1900s, and it was pulled out of there and the newer homes were built. When that happened, they brought architects in, or archaeologists, thank you. And they did some digging, so they gave my son an opportunity, and he's quite young, about 7 years old at the time, to go over and dig, and they got some artifacts, they got some arrowheads, and they got some pottery, pieces of pottery and things like that. I would imagine that things that are in the river and embedded in all that muck, there might be some really neat things in there. So I was just hoping that maybe we could just see if there's anybody interested in going through it to see whether or not we could pull some of those things out for our residents.
I think it would be, just as I used USF, for the original dredging stuff, maybe we should call the department over there and see if they would be
We also, don't
interested.
forget, we also have the State College here, on Ridge Road, which is even closer. There may be a group of students there. We just want, to make sure that
I think it'd be
what's
great.
found is documented.
Tyrannosaurus nance, right? I find anything.
You
No, I
you never
really
know,
do
and
agree.
I don't wanna just throw history away if we don't have to. At
I
least,
know.
I mean, I don't know that we have to do it for the whole thing, but I bet you there's some really cool things out there.
If
Well,
I,
I know you can find,
Shark's teeth, and, I mean, I
Shark's
have
teeth
shark's
and
teeth this big
arrowheads.
around, and who knows?
well, I'm with you on the way.
if I might, Mayor and Councilwoman, Mr. Muse is keenly involved in historical preservation from many different perspectives. But we will most certainly make every attempt to hook up with either the college or the university to have someone take a look at that, because there is a dredging, cleaning, and drying process.
Right.
And they'll be able to take a look at that. We'll definitely make those arrangements.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I brought that
It
up.
won't cost us any time at all.
No, because by that time it should be pulled off the site, put someplace else or whatever.
Exactly.
They may even have a space over at Pasco State College, possibly, that they might be, they have a lot of acreage over there. Maybe they would entertain having some of the students go through it there. I don't know. I mean, that's up to them, but,
We'll work out
I think it's a
something.
good idea.
yeah, I just don't want to lose any of that stuff in there. It's too cool.
Sure.
Let me give an answer to Mr. Brown. You asked about our CRA money. There is a contribution that we have to contribute to the Restore Act funds. It's kind of a mixed deal. So that money we are spending is going to probably take care of most of our contribution, which we have to fork up. So we're working on that. No, I do not believe Mr.
Curtis?
Mr. Lupo can tell us that, you know, this is the money up front that we have to contribute. So no, we won't be getting that back. It's after that that we start getting the monies from the government. Or am I right? about
Correct.
that? Okay. The other thing, 4th of July, fabulous. I was out there, crowd was happy. I didn't hear a complaint mentioned, so, you know, thank you all. I know you all put a lot of time into it, and it took you away from your holiday, and it does not go unnoticed. Thank you. Mr. Brown, as to your remarks about Mr. Goldberg, I completely concur. I was quite taken back that he would make those comments considering that he wasn't even here when that, to the best of my knowledge, that he was not here when that pier was shut down. I believe that happened after the fact, but whether he was or not, I just find it amazing you make those kind of comments without coming out here and looking at that pier. What else we got here?
What was that in the newspaper? or-
Pardon?
I didn't read it. What did it say?
It was more discussion about the pier and whether it's safe or not, and I know that if it was able to hold up trucks, cars, and everything else, a few people on there fishing, and by God, they're using it. Anybody that goes out there and looks will see people out there using it, enjoying it. I hope they continue to do so without fear. And I don't think any of us would ever put anybody on there if we thought anything could happen. The other thing I want to talk about, this council's talked about committees to look over our charter, to look over our codes, see if there's room for changes and improvements. And I guess what I want to do is bring this back to before us, and if we want to do this, let's make a decision to do it, and let's put those committees together and get them working, because every time we meet, time goes on and things don't get done. And if we want to get this done, and I thought that was a consensus of this council, I would like to move forward on that, so we need to agenda it, whatever we need to do. I just need to know where council stands on this.
Would you please agenda boards and committees for next meeting? Incidentally, I just went over this recently. Gene Nelson died. Larry Applefield died. He's on 2. Donna True. Tom O'Neill's gone. Amy Scott.
Huh?
So,
He died a couple, like
Yeah.
6 months ago.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he was very sick over
So,
at the rehab center.
we've got a lot to do on this. Everybody should gather people, citizens who are interested. Traditionally, we ask if you want to keep your position, but I think this is, you really need to think about this and get people that have particular skills on these, that might be required on these boards. So, if we just agenda that next time, you guys can fill in what we might, and, have one other, question I'd like, or request. The MPO board, you guys made me take, so I've been going to it. Nobody from Port Ridgey's been there in years. And so I've gotten acquainted with some people. Recently, I got acquainted with a lady named Kelly, and I can't think of her last name. She's on the MPO Citizens Advisory Committee. It's called the MPO CAC. We need to appoint an alternate. I think we have somebody, but I took her over to meet Holly Kalinsky, who I think everybody knows here. Yes. And Holly's more than willing to do it, and I would like to have a motion to put her in, because the next meeting is day after tomorrow. And we can have 2, but I need somebody to help, because it's about this thick every month, and it's all on the east side, and we need to bring some of that activity to the west side, and Holly's the perfect person. So if you would indulge me with a,
Are you allowed to bring a non-council person to that MPO meeting? I wasn't
oh yeah.
sure that you
This
could.
is the MPO Citizens Advisory
Oh, okay.
Committee. So, and then she requested us have one. We haven't had one in years and years and years.
I think the last person that went there was Mayor Rober.
Yeah, well, he was there, but
He was very
not-
active in it.
Not in this capacity.
No, okay.
No, he is not the last one. I'm the last one.
Well, I mean, before you.
Yes, you're right. And they miss him, and I miss you too, Rich. If I could have a motion for Holly to be the alternate to the MPOCAC, I would appreciate it.
Are we allowed to vote on this if it's not on the agenda?
We are.
Our city attorney?
Technically, you can vote on anything. It's highly recommended by the Attorney General's office. If it's something major that you don't do it, I don't consider this major in any
Okay.
way, so.
Motion to approve Holly Klinsky.
Second?
Second, any discussion? All right, well, we will be finding out a lot of information from Holly that we'll never get any other way because just nobody goes. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Dale, real quick,
Yes,
when
ma'am.
we were talking about the dredge stuff, I didn't say anything about the council, so I just have two really quick things. One, I also thought we did a great job on the fireworks, and I want to thank everybody for them. There were some comments made on social media that the city of Port Richey put up $5,000, and that's true, but we put a whole lot more than that, and I want everybody in the community to know that. And the other thing that really surprised me, and I just wanted to bring to everybody's attention, is the city of Tampa does not pay for any fireworks. Channelside, and the reason I know this is because it was reported that Channelside had a lot of glitches in Tampa because of computer failure. So therefore, they were trying to set the rest of the fireworks off without the computer, and it turned into a big mess. And, you know, it was very unfortunate. They had spent a lot of money, but all the funds, everything that is done as far as the fireworks is done by the Channelside group, and the city puts nothing into it. Now, as far as this is what they reported, so I'm just going to go with what the reporter said. I did not call the city of Tampa and ask the city of Tampa if they provide, you know, policing and so on and so forth. But that would be something, you know, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. I thought that was interesting. I thought really the city of Tampa had a huge involvement in that,
Right.
but they don't.
Did we get any accounting from the VA?
Yes, a part and parcel of the requirements was an accounting on what the vendors did, and we're still in the process of receiving it. We've only received one of the reports on one of the vendors. We're waiting for an additional.
We only had one then.
Two, sir.
Two? What was the other one?
One was food, and the other one was snow cones.
Okay, Kristen had told me they only had one. I don't understand how that happened either, but,
There were two of them, and we collected fees on both of them.
and what was our collection?
We don't have the second report yet.
I mean, what did we charge to be a vendor?
$100 each.
I think we should really look at having the city more involved
As I,
all the way around.
as I stated earlier, during the upcoming budget process, I will bring several suggestions to council for their consideration.
If I can get Tim and Jerry on a basketball court, I guarantee can flip a hammer.
Mayor, I talked to Rich Milton, who's the vice president of the BBA, and he was starting already this week to go out and get confirmations from businesses. I think they realize that that is where they need to go to get the money. And so I think they're trying very hard to get more people involved to get larger quantities of money so that our portion of, because when we get not only the 5,000 that we put in, but the overtime and everything else, it's going to be substantial.
It is.
I'm still glad we did it. I think
Oh, yeah.
the citizens are glad we did it. Maybe a few aren't, but they missed a great show. But it was a good time. It was great for the city, and I'd like to see more of it done.
Well, and you know, if we really charged for all the police and fire, it would be astronomical, so, they should be very appreciative. But I'm still looking at a bigger part of that as far as the city being a vendor. And yes, we can account for it. If we can take care of the $14 million budget or whatever it is, I'm sure we can account for that. Okay. One last thing from me, and then y'all shut up. Mr. and Mrs. Mallett, I think we should do something for the family. You know, I'd asked Vince to get me a key to the city when we discussed Mr. Mallett, and, you know, to have for Mrs. Mallett. And we didn't, well, she didn't give us time. These were people that, if you didn't know them, you wish you would. And I don't know how we'd go about that, Mr. Lupo, but the family's still here, and if we could put something together just to honor them.
Certainly, we'll come up with a suggestion for you. We'll email each council person.
Listen, I won't give you the story this time, but he always had something to bust me with. And he won every time. Okay, let's,
Any other council?
any other from council? Anything
I had
else?
one quick question.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brown made a good point about the boil water notification, and I don't know if the city has the IT department to do it, but if citizens gave us their text numbers, their phone numbers, we have a capability of broadcasting out to text to everybody, like an emergency or something like a boil water?
No, we don't have that at this point in time.
Okay.
What we rely on is newspapers and the radio station and actual written notices where necessary. We hope that does not happen with any frequency, and that's what we're striving for. But those are the issues that we have. We use radio, we use the press, we use county and with information, plus door-to-door if necessary.
I just know that I've already noticed that. I've read it later and said, oh, we were supposed to boil our water last week or whatever. So
Yeah.
I don't think the capability to do what I'm suggesting is that hard, so maybe we can put something to our IT to see if any citizens want to give us that information.
Sure.
That we can do a blast,
Sure.
boil water your neighborhood, whatever, on a text.
Well, they have that reverse 911 or whatever system the school district uses.
Jocelyn, are you still putting together the newsletter? Wouldn't it be reasonable to say, if you would like to be alerted by email?
Can I say something?
Yeah.
By text would be better.
Can I don't know, and I'd be more than happy to look it up, but Chris, you may know. The requirements for how someone is notified is dictated by the terms of the DEP. I don't think we have a choice.
No, but
right?
that
I
doesn't
think
mean
we could do it in addition.
addition.
Right, we could do it in addition.
Not in lieu of.
Not, you're right, but that's my
Yeah.
point, not in lieu
No,
of. So
in
there's
addition,
certain
I'm
things
talking.
we have to do, you know. sure
Because
we
any
do.
citizen then can just say, here's
Just
my
somebody knows
number,
it,
right.
But by the time a notice gets out to the newspaper,
DEP makes us do it.
by the time a notice gets out to the newspaper, most of our citizens probably don't even get the newspaper anymore. And, you know, it's 24 hours later.
It-
Nobody
If
is
I might,
getting that information.
we're striving desperately to ensure that never occurs. There are always incidents and accidents. We'll investigate the issues that you brought forward. We're also looking at ways, well point chlorination, where no matter what goes through the lines, there will be chlorination directly from the well point to avoid that. The notices are sent out because of state law requirements and out of abundance of caution. We have almost instant cutoffs when issues like that occur, but part of the answer is the modifications to the systems that we're making right now to ensure that those kinds of issues never occur. That includes the constant and timely cleaning and flushing of the lines, which we did for the first time this year, hadn't been done in 4 or 5 years, and the upkeep and maintenance of all of those lines, the flushing at the fire hydrants. So it's an ongoing process, but the issue is is both one of prevention and then to supplement the state-required notification. We'll certainly look into that.
But I think the email thing would be good if they just ask for their emails, they'd like to have it for only emergency notifications, and even us old people email, but I don't know how to.
There is a software application called a Nixle, and we've actually written about this in the newspaper before. I think it's a free app that you can download. We haven't really fully explored its capabilities, but that's something that we can explore a bit more
'Cause
fully.
then they can just give a phone number for a text and it will just be
Well,
broadcast.
And I don't know, we haven't really looked into it, but I don't know if it's a situation where a resident would have to download the app to be able to receive those, but it is a free service.
I mean, that would even help the police department if there's flooding on a certain
Right.
street. I mean, you can,
It's out there, we just haven't really
Okay.
fully integrated it, but we'll explore that.
I actually have that, and I get all the updates for Newport Richey. And I've had it for, I bet you 10 years. And every time something goes on in Port Richey, they text it to me. So we do have that system available.
I have that also available, and I've been using it for 2 different states, so it's very effective. But why can't we just have one of the portable digital signs that are posted outside the neighborhoods that need a boil notice, and have it so that when they go home or they drive down the street, they see it?
We'd have to have 3 of them.
Well, we borrowed one before.
actually.
We
there's-
really
They're
have to have
rentable,
3 of
are
them.
they not? Well, since we are really hoping that this doesn't happen very often, certainly we can go to that expense,
But it can be
just to
used for-
notify a street that they have that problem.
But it can be used for so many different things.
I've been trying to
this
get one of those
system.
signs for 6 years.
Well, yeah, we need it out here, I agree, but if it's portable, we can notify neighborhoods for a boil water notice anytime, so that people coming in, going, will see it, and that will be probably just as effective as a notice on the front door.
Kevin,
We might have to have, well, we'd have to move it quickly, and you'd almost have to have 3 to do that because of the different locations. But anyway, that's just some thoughts, I guess.
did you have something to say, Kevin?
That's something we're looking towards right now for grants, ELC, Emergency Operations Center.
Come on.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that, but for the people that don't go to their front door.
Right. But that's in lieu of this one.
But like he said.
That's something we've been looking through now, or we have in the past for EOC, for Emergency Operations Center. We're coordinating with the county to try to get alerts out and so forth. We've been going to those meetings now. So that is something we're looking at, and there are some grants out there for the city that we could obtain. We just have to be able to write the grant and apply it.
That would be for what, which of these?
That would be for the sign, digital board sign. There are other ways too. There's a board on 19 that we've used, but we have to go through Florida Highway Patrol, and so we might be able to work something out that way too. But
Okay.
I'll check into that.
Thank you. Well, I'm still for the email, I don't think anybody else needs to sign. Okay. Anything else from council? No? Okay. Where are we at?
Consent agenda.
Consent.
What's that?
Consent agenda.
Oh, I know where we're at.
Oh,
Do I have a motion for the consent
Motion to
agenda?
approve consent agenda?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have a discussion for RFQ for insurance broker of record.
if I might,
Please.
Mayor and council. Your agenda item number 2 is a discussion for the request for qualifications for insurance broker of record for the city of Port Richey. The city has received 5 proposals from a publicly advertised request for qualifications to select a new insurance broker of record. We put together a review committee, and that review committee looked at all of the presentations, and they came up with a specific ranking. Jocelyn, you headed up that committee. Would you like to speak to the issue?
Yes, as Mr. Lupo indicated, we decided to advertise for a broker of record. The city utilizes a broker of record to help procure its insurance services for medical insurance, dental insurance, life insurance. We've been working with the Gehring Group for 8 years. We decided it was time to maybe look at other options just to see what was out there in the broker of record world. So we issued an RFQ to solicit qualifications for different brokers. We received 5. We put together a review committee which consisted of myself, Mr. Matthew, and Ms. Applegate. We looked at 4 different criteria when we were ranking and evaluating the different proposals. We looked at technical expertise, we looked at a fee, we looked at experience working with public sector agencies. We ranked them for you, that's in your agenda packet. And we are looking for direction on how you'd like us to proceed. We're prepared to make a recommendation tonight, if that's your preference, and we're prepared to get more information if that's your preference also.
What were your criteria?
Technical approach, experience of the service team that we would be working with, fee structure, and experience working with other public sector entities.
Okay, from the fee structure, is there
From
a
the
wide range of differences?
Not at all, really. It was all fairly consistent amongst the 5 5 proposals that we received.
I want to chat on this, if you don't mind. This was kind of my thing, and I kind of pushed this forward because Mr. Rowe and I, both in the past, have both not been happy with the insurance that we feel that we were getting and from the group that we have now. But yet you guys ranked them 3rd, and I probably wouldn't have done that. But anyway, so a couple months ago, I prompted another group to come in and chat with them, which is one of the groups here. So I kind of want everybody to know that I kind of started this whole ball rolling because it was so important for us I felt, to really look at this and see if we could give the people the best deal. And the group that did come in and chat with them, they were very, very impressed with, but I guess that their proposal wasn't as good as you guys wanted it to be. But I think, that being said, I'd like to see them all come in, because the Gehring Group, we kind of know where they're at, but it would be beneficial because I think our new council people need to hear from the Gehring Group. So it's only 5 of them, so my theory would be, bring them in, let's talk to them, let's see what they have to offer. This is a very serious matter for our employees. We need to make sure that the formularies that they're giving us are correct and good. We have to make sure that they're gonna give us the service that our people need. So I say we just pick their brain. It's hard to be able, especially us being, I just got into the insurance business back in October of 2016, but it's hard for a layman to really understand all this. I think that we need to chat with them and pick their brain and say, well, you know, in layman's terms, what can you really do for us? That's just my thought.
Was there a difference in deductibles, things like that?
The proposals doesn't really get into that kind of information. This is just the percentage of the fee that the broker receives from our insurance premium. So we don't have any of that information based on these proposals. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Joe, can I explain? Yeah.
Not to get too legal on you, but since this is only the 2nd time you've done an RFP instead of request for bids, there's 2 different type of bidding processes, okay? Generally, when you're having a road done or something, you do a request for bids, okay? Because generally you know what you want done, and it's very specific. You want a road 20 feet wide, 6 feet deep, we hire an engineer. Okay, that's a request for bidding. It's a process, it's mandated by state statute as well as our ordinances. There's also a process in which the thresholds remain the same. This, at state, it's about 200,000. Our ordinances make it 25,000. And when the price is really not the issue, and we don't know exactly what we're gonna get, okay, so you do a request for proposals. We're calling it a request for qualifications, that's how we term it, but it's called a request for proposals pursuant to state law. We did the same thing with the public safety officer. We requested proposals, because we didn't know what we wanted to pay or spend, and also, price wasn't number one, but service was number two. That's what an RFP is. Now, so we put this out for an RFQ or an RFP, same thing, and requested certain things. The 4 things we requested are the 4 items that Jocelyn talked about, okay? That's all we asked for, is those 4 items mostly, and then we got back these 5 responses. These rankings were based upon the responses in light of what was requested. Okay, and in light of what was requested, it was very easy to rank these in light of those 4 standards. Okay, and that's the ranking goes no further than that. Now, our city ordinances require any bidding process above $25,000. Now, here it's a broker. The broker is not charging us anything. The broker does nothing more than solicit quotes from insurance companies. If we were dealing directly with the insurance companies with professional contract, we wouldn't even have to go out to bid. But the brokers go out, and these are health insurance now. They go out and solicit bids in the open market, okay? What they get paid is not a check from us. They get paid from the insurance company. They were all the same. 5% for health insurance, 10% for the ancillaries, okay? That being vision and dental and something along those natures. One of them said 4%. We're not sure why, but I suspect that's a mistake because their fees are mandated by state statute. So we intend to ask them about that. Perhaps I'm wrong. But in any event, we don't pay their fees, so price has nothing to do with what you're doing. It's totally service. I highly recommend that you inquire of our personnel officer, Erin. She's the one that deals with them. Nobody knows more about how our relationship is going with our present broker and what the needs are of this 60-some-odd employees of the city. You need to ask her, okay? She knows more than everybody in this room. Okay, what's necessary. Personally, my recommendation is that you bring all 5 men and talk to them. One of the more important questions that was asked of these is how many of these have done work with governmental units before? I think 2 of them didn't, and I think that's why they're numbers 4 and 5 here on the list. And that could be good and that could be bad. You know, we're a small city. Do we want something small? You know, you gotta remember, you pick the big ones here, you're gonna get less service. It's that kind of thing you're looking for. So technically, it's a council's decision. You could delegate the choice to the city manager, but right now, this is council's decision. You could bring them in. There's no urgency to this. We just renewed recently, so you could bring in 3 on one meeting and 2 at the other, or whatever you wanna do. So my recommendation as a member of the committee is, number 1, that you call them in, but number 2 is you inquire with the person with the most information here, and that's Erin.
Number 3, let's have some sort of criteria for beyond the 4 you
Yes, we did it. That was my point. That's correct. You might want to make a list of criteria, not to interrupt you, Mayor, but make a list of other things that are important, but you won't know what's important until you talk to that one. You gotta remember,
Make a list.
yeah.
Because every insurance policy I've had covers everything except what I have.
Mayor, the issue is not the policies. The issue is the service of the policies. So in other words, why don't you explain to them what the problem is, okay? Not that there's a major problem, but it's not so much what the policy says, but when some employee has a problem, they come into Erin's office and say, call up our broker, let's work this out, and then service becomes an issue, correct?
Correct.
That's the issue.
We've had some issues the last couple of years since our dedicated person left, Gearing Group. I think it's been up in the air, the service that we get from them. You call, you get one person, you call, you get another person. There's never anybody consistently dedicated to us. That becomes an issue when you've got employees that have medication that they're dependent on. I mean, life or death dependent on, and they need to get it filled.
One out of your criteria, we demand one person to deal with. Keep
Correct.
going, please.
The other major issue is at enrollment time. The last few years, it's been beyond November 1st when our employees receive their insurance cards. And again, a lot of our employees have medications that they're dependent on, that they get filled the first of each month. And if you don't have an insurance card, you can't just go to the pharmacy and say, well, just charge me the copay. It's good, I promise you I have insurance. They're not gonna take it. It's like going to the doctor and saying, well, I have insurance, just don't have my card.
Were they able to provide those people with numbers before they went to the doctors? I mean, sometimes the cards don't come right away, but they should be able to provide a number, because somebody could have an accident very next day. Something could happen seriously, and there should be some type of process by which you get the member ID that you can utilize, and just take that number to the physician or whatever. But these are things that we need to chat with them all about, and that's why I think that we need, and this has been an issue. I know that Terry and I almost pulled our hair out a couple times, because you guys remember, we were not happy about what we were seeing. Remember the one year it was like $10,000?
That's where we started. It was a $10,000 deductible for our workers, and I just
We want
found
somebody
that
to work hard.
ridiculously over the top, and we had people that weren't making enough to even begin to cover that type of thing if they ran into it. As I looked at these prices, everybody seems to be right down the line. So, and I know in my discussions with these in the past with different companies, seems like the services those companies bring to the table is what makes the difference. And I would think in comfort to our employees and to save our staff the time that's involved in going through all these little problems all the time, you've got to have services. And if we're not getting that, then we need to really search, and as I said several years back, in the insurance market, it's shop till you drop. And so with this, with the brokers, it's not so much that, because it looks like they're all on the same page as far as what they get. So we're not really going to save any money for,
They're
changing.
not giving us the same policies, and
Right.
correct?
The thing that they're gonna bring to the table are how many different insurance companies they deal with, and the amount of customer service that they can bring to our city. Those are the two things I think that are gonna be paramount in our selection.
Aaron, as many problems as you feel that I'm sure, would it be worthwhile to have a meeting with the employees? What is your biggest pitch about this, the way we've been doing it?
That's gonna
And
open
get
up.
some ideas?
No, the answer to that's no.
No.
Because I think Erin knows, and I don't think she needs to open up. Yeah.
I listen to them when they come in my office, I can tell you.
You have them all?
Don't put her in that position.
Aaron, is there a way
Sure
that
you
we
don't
can
wanna do
check
that?
with other customers of these brokers? That's how you find out customer service, is contacting other customers and saying, do you get the service you want from these brokers?
Absolutely.
And
Then
that's
we
a
can-
possibility too, yeah.
Yeah, let's weed them out that way. I mean, if they've got great service from 4 different people, that's different. So if we contact them, maybe we can,
I think that would be a good idea, because then I could see how they've worked with their
Right,
HR and
exactly.
what kind of response they get.
Well, this is a very important matter, so I think we ought to give it
Yeah,
a.
I have no problem with it. I just think very few people are even gonna hit a $5,000 deductible in a year. And I realize the lower we go, the higher the premium is. That maybe there's a hybrid in there where you can have a lower deductible and a cap, and let the employees have the opportunity to buy above that cap to $10 million, 2 or 3 days in the hospital.
Well, if we ever get changes to the healthcare, maybe things will change a little bit. I don't know, right?
What is the council's pleasure?
I think we should, personally, I would say, I think we need to talk to these people, know how we bring them in, whether we do a workshop and bring them in that way. How much time we give each one of them, those are decisions to be made.
Well, also then, if we get feedback on what the other people are saying about these customers, maybe we can weed them down to a couple based on just customer service alone, because that seems to be the biggest criteria, because we have preset pricing. So if we find out customer service-wise, these are the 3 best or the 2 best, and not spend a lot of time.
Well, yeah, although they could set us up with anybody, I mean, and are they allowed to do that? I don't know. Are they allowed?
Set us up with.
I mean, are they allowed to give out their clients? I don't know.
Yeah, but
Is
we-
there a client?
They do, okay.
They're public record if they're dealing with
Oh,
government.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and they're,
Oh, okay, good. Okay.
I think, council, if I might, you've given us some direction. We'll go back, we'll let the committee go back, institute some of the advice that you've given us, and then we'll come back at the next council meeting and give that information to you. Then you can decide whether to bring 1, 2, 3, 4, or all 5 in, either at a workshop or one at a time at different meetings. Again, we are under no pressure immediately. We have a contract with Gehring Associates, so we can take our time and make the proper decision.
When is the
But-
deadline?
Yeah.
When is?
When is the deadline when we have?
We just renewed it, right?
We just renewed it.
We have
We got a year?
3, I think.
What?
No.
The insurance changes over November 1st. We've got an ongoing agreement with Gearing Group currently for brokerage service, so we're fine there. But it's the insurance coverage that we're gonna need to start getting the bids going on.
Okay, so,
So you got November.
all right.
For November?
You wanna do it, you bring us
We'll-
back
We'll,
some.
we'll bring back some recommendations to council, and let council go from there.
Row?
So we just renewed our insurance policy with Gehring Group?
The insurance coverage goes from November 1st of each year.
Right.
But the contract is an ongoing, multi-year coverage
With Gehring Group.
with Gearing Group.
The insurance is year to year.
Okay, so
So
next
November we can
November,
change.
we can change if we so decide to use a different company.
We could change plans.
We
and
can't
vote.
change until 2018, not November of 2017.
The contract's up in November of 2018, I believe, with Gearing Group. The insurance coverage that we're currently under, our employees' coverage, ends November 1st, 2017. So
So that means we have a whole nother year of the whole Gehring Group gig.
correct.
We could have, yes, ma'am.
We could have.
Could,
Oh, okay, okay. So,
Can we fire them?
yes.
oh, well, that's what we,
Okay.
that's what I don't think Terry and I can.
Okay, got you. Okay,
Okay, so
you were
we
saying
don't-
contract, and I'm thinking, okay.
Well, my concern with if we were to go this year with changing insurance brokers, it's kind of cutting it close, because we've got to have a couple of months at least to get everything in line if we were to go with a different insurance company, if we got a better quote from somebody else.
What the point is that's what we're after. And that's what we've been after, is to see if we can get somebody better in here to do, get you guys something better than, what we've seen in the past. That's the bottom line, so, regardless. And so, I mean, isn't that how you feel? I mean,
Absolutely.
so I don't wanna wait till
No, no, it's
2018 if we can't, if we can get a new broker in
Let's,
now.
Let's do this. Can you guys get something together that
Let us know.
meets these requirements, and let us look at it? Apparently, we can change brokers and we can change policies. We have to change policy by November 17th this year, and we may want to change brokers. Everybody agreed with that?
Yes.
Okay, so we will expect that in the morning.
Not quite.
Everybody happy?
Yes.
Okay, can I say something?
Yeah.
Since I'm on the committee, I don't have a clue. Okay, what are you asking us to do? You want us to determine whether these people have service? That's why you'd bring them in here. What are you asking us to do?
We want to know, I guess, we have a policy we have to change or continue.
No, we're not asking
Can't
them
you-
about their service, because.
No, I got all that. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I got all that. What exactly do you want the committee to do that they haven't done?
Last Nancy, what do you want?
Oh, I didn't say,
Somebody-
I would just assume. I would
I'm
just
waiting
assume-
tomorrow morning when we sit down and somebody says, what is there to do? Do you know what to do?
Personally, I'd like to just
She didn't know
hear
what to
they
do,
have
she
to
didn't know
say
what
and
to
do a
do, I don't know what
workshop.
to do. You want us to go back and try to determine if these 5 companies have good service? How are we supposed to do that without bringing them in?
I personally want to just set up a workshop for them to come in and let's chat with them and get it over.
Oh, you want us to make that decision?
No, that's
What are
what
you
we're
asking
trying
us to
say.
do? That's all I'm asking, because tomorrow morning I gotta sit down with them and we're gonna look at each other and say, what do you want us
My
to do?
point was to ask other municipalities, other people who are using these people, what their service. They may say they have terrible service. If you ask them, they're gonna say they have great service.
But
Oh,
see,
you want-
some of the companies have not worked for municipalities.
But even customers are customers. I mean,
Okay,
whether
if
you-
that's
right.
okay, then that's.
That was my point. I'm not
That's
asking them how
legitimate.
their service is, because they're gonna say their service is great.
I guess, and if we call anybody they listed as a reference, they'll say the same. That's been my experience with calling references.
Well, one of
It's,
the.
it sounded like you were asking us to call them to ask them about their own service, you know? I don't think,
No.
without calling them in, I don't know how I'm gonna get, this is a personal thing concerning service. I don't know how this committee's gonna determine whether they have good service or not.
By asking other customers.
We can do that.
I don't know about, Jim, one of the
That's
things
public
I
record,
thought
you
was
said,
pretty
for
clear
who's-
at first was,
Okay.
will we or will we not have one person to deal with? Is that not one of the major problems? So.
We can ask them
That is a starting point, and if you have other things that are of major importance to you that would make your job better and the employees would have a better, medical insurance, then weed it out by that, and then we'll go from there. So-
Well, you call,
Well, let's take that third one. Do you know what he's talking about?
Prepare a list of questions and get feedback from other municipalities.
Okay, so we call references, okay, for 2 of them, since 3 I don't think have done any municipalities, so we will call 2 of them. What else? I'm trying to figure out what you want us to do
What I
here.
heard of the problem was that we had nobody to deal with.
I got that. So are they willing to assign an assigned person to us, right?
That
Okay.
answer would be
want
yes.
that.
Number 2,
Number 2 is, are there any other things, since I'm not dealing with it, that she thinks needs to be, attached to this contract? Are there other things other than we deal with one person? Maybe
she's
there are,
right.
maybe
Is there
there aren't.
something? She's right here. Erin, is there something else you'd like attached? He wants us to have a meeting to ask you this, so I'm asking you now.
If I might, in my discussions with one of the brokers, he talked about how they extended beyond just doing the canvassing for an insurance company, that they went beyond that. And this goes back to the services, that they offered other services and different counseling, and they could come in and talk to the employees. There were things like that that this company was willing to do, and that's what I'm talking about, services. Is that not just that you don't have to contribute a lot of time chasing a lot of odds and ends and making telephone calls all the time, that you have this contact person, but what do they offer along with their service as far as beyond the offer of all these companies under their umbrella? What do they offer? There are other things, according to this gentleman, that their company did. And he said, you know, there were a number of things, and they were willing to come in and talk to employees and everything else. If they're willing to do that, it's a plus, if we're gonna get better service. That's what I'm looking for. It goes a little beyond just throwing out some companies and saying, here's the deal, we went with, you know, we've got these 6 companies, the best one was this one, and they're done.
Remember how, if we would choose a mayor, or we would do this or that, we would bring them all in, we would give them a 10-minute time limit, and boom, 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 put them all up there, have your questions ready, and just do it. And this way, you get all those answers, and, you know, and then we know, and we don't have to.
I don't have a
jerk
problem
around
with
it.
talking to them.
Yeah, I think that, I'd like to personally see their face when I'm asking these questions, you know?
Well, to be honest, my recommendation to the committee, if we're gonna do this, what you just said is, I'm gonna say, let's bring all 5 men and we'll talk to them. Then we'll come back and give you our opinion on the 5.
That'd be
Well,
good.
that
That's
could
what you
work
want.
too.
I like that idea, let's do
Yeah.
that. You guys
Yeah, I was
talk
gonna
to
say,
them and
I'm
find
fine
out
with
what
that.
you wanna
It's just,
know.
you know, time's kind of the essence here in some ways, you know what I mean? We'll have Mr. Lupo sit on it. Yeah, we'll call them all in. I mean, I don't know how I gotta see if someone's gonna do a nice job service-wise, because I, you know, ask them, you know.
Well, with those three at the helm, this is a good thing, because you all are.
Well, Erin's the one that has to deal with it. Her opinion, that's why we made her chairman.
That's a
She
good idea.
deals with it all day long.
That's a good idea, we can do
Yeah.
that.
All right, well, that's what, then if we're allowed to do that, then I could, you know.
I like the idea. What about
All right,
you
we'll do
guys?
that, try to do that this week.
Yep.
Okay, with this, we're gonna let the staff whittle it down a little better, look at them, interview them, and.
Come back and make a recommendation.
Thank God. Okay, moving on.
This is done, okay. We have no business, Ms. Court.
I think we're doing an excellent job here in the city of Port Ritchie.
That is succinct, and I agree with you, we have done, all of the staff has done a great job. Any other thoughts before we hear that last hammer drop?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Oh.
Aye.
Aye.